forget to subscribe to Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons and friends. Today is Let's Talk About It Tuesday, and we have a guest. Dr. Inky is in the building, part 2.
Okay, welcome to Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons and friends. Today I have with me Margaret Green.
Hello, how you doing?
And of course, you guys know we have Dr. Enqi in the building. He's here with us. So, how's everybody's day going so far?
Good. Weather's good and everything. A little warmer than usual, but it's good.
Yeah, it was warmer earlier here in Chicago. It's been cooled down some. This morning I did a 3.5 hour, 3.5 mile today. So, and walking. Yeah, I'm trying to get it together, y'all. Summer visa before you know it. Yeah,
that's a lot of walking.
Yeah, and eating better. I'm doing better with my eating. I'm running the treadmill. So today, because I had to do something with my car, I had to take my car to the shop, and I had nobody pick me up. So I just said, "Well, you know what? I'm gonna walk it."
Yeah.
So I walked back, and I did good. Only thing about it, I was kind of worried because I don't like dogs, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm so afraid of dogs, and I was just worried that I was gonna run into somebody's dog. And I'm just so grateful. I thank God that He kept me covered all the way there and all the way back.
Yes, definitely. Because somebody's dog is forever being loose.
Yes,
and they wonder, well, I don't know how you got out.
And the funny thing is, my husband had just said, make sure that you go down the main street, because he said the main street, at least people will see you. So I was gonna deviate from where he was telling the way he was telling me to go. I was like, I ain't going that way. I'm gonna take the shortcut. Then something just said, Spirit said, you better not. Better go down that regular main street. Mm-hmm. I went down the main street, and so when I got back home and I drove down that side street, I normally would probably go cut through. It was somebody boxer was loose. I said, "Oh God, thank you, Lord." I said, "It was just a good thing I went the other way instead of because I would have freaked out." I'm telling y'all.
Yeah. Boxers are good dogs, but they will bite you.
Oh yeah,
I had one.
He was sitting there gnawing on something. I'm like, oh yeah, I'd rather him gnaw on whatever.
Listen, any kind of dog will bite anybody.
Yeah, even a Chihuahua.
One of the things that they don't like to talk about, especially people that are like dog lovers, is what happens when the owner dies in the house with the dog. Wow. Usually it takes about a week, and the dog starts to eat the owner.
Ooh.
Oh wow. Oh
yeah.
Wow.
The dog starts eating the owner. So that just shows, like, because people have these special romantic ideas about their dog. Like, bruh, if you pass away in the house, you and that dog, the dog is gonna eat you.
Eat you.
You think it's a lot more special than it really is. You just created a situation
where still a dog. That's the proof. The thing about it. They still a dog.
The dogs have enslaved the humans now. The dogs have now enslaved the humans. If you think about it, somebody will, for instance,
hey Ursula,
we'll have our parents put into an old folks home and say things like, well, I ain't changing their diaper, or I ain't wiping their butt, stuff like that.
I would have killed to have that, to be able to do that for my parents.
But here's the thing. People will voluntarily do that for the dog.
Yeah, sure I know. So I've seen that.
Your dog's poop, but not your mother's or your father's
poop.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you done enslaved yourself for life to feed this animal 2-3 times a day. A lot of times these animals not even guard dogs, so it's not even like
you're right. Some of them will let somebody right in your house.
Yeah,
they don't care.
Yeah, and so
they will sniff them and go on about their business.
Yeah, And it's crazy to know that the dog, most times, after about 7-8 days, the dog will start eating the owner.
It's sad to say, but I could believe that. And
he ain't got nothing else to eat. He gonna eat on you.
Yeah, that's true. So, with that being said, Margaret, you want to tell us a little bit about real estate today? Just give us a little gold nugget.
Just a little something I learned this week is you just want to be careful when you submitting contracts to purchase, and that you are thorough in your decision of what you're willing to pay for it. And not only that, once you have made your offer, and make sure that you don't deviate from what you oh shoot, I'm sorry about that. Hold on, I'm sorry, my husband just called me a moment ago. I'm sorry about that. You just don't deviate from what you're willing to pay, because sometimes you can get into a bidding war. And when you do that, sometimes you will end up going overboard over what you can afford versus what you can't afford. Just because you're trying to get that, you want that particular house, and you want to get it, so you'll go overboard. And then once you done got it, then you have buyer's remorse. So you want to make sure that you stay within your budget of what you are not only approved for, but what you can afford. Because sometimes you can be approved for 400,000, but your budget may say, once you pay all your bills, that you can afford 300. So don't go and get, just because the bank said you approved for 400, don't go and maximize it, knowing full well you got other expenses to pay. So in other words, if you get into a bidding war, know your limit. Say, okay, this is what I'm willing to pay. If they don't want to accept that, then count me out. But because that it can get like that, and especially in this market right now. So like I said again, know your budget, stick to your guns on what you can afford and what you're willing to pay, and that way you won't find yourself in a situation where your house poor. Okay. And that's my gold nugget.
That's good information. Very good information. So, well, I'm gonna start off with we're gonna bring in our little celebrity.
Time for celebrity gossip with the one and only Shanita J.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Shanita J, with your celebrity gossip. And I got a few stories today that I want to share with you guys. A few people are influencers, and this is some of the celebrity gossip, but there's one important message I want to get across today. I just want to, dive into the stories I have. So, first and foremost, there is rumors circulating that apparently Solange's son, or allegedly, I should say, son, has gotten someone pregnant. So she's looking to be a grandmother soon. But we can't confirm these allegations. But right now, that's what, the rumors are around the world. I did see some stories where Jules was denying these allegations. Again, this is all alleged. So there's no truth. We don't know. No one confirmed or denied. Moving right along, I don't know if you guys have heard, but there was a few YouTubers that were recently in the headlines. One is a female influencer. Her name is Courtney Taylor. She apparently allegedly stabbed her boyfriend 11 times. It was a fatal stabbing. He is no longer here. He did not make it. Wow. But let's dive into that. Let's dissect it. Let's dissect this story just a little bit. It's a little suspicious to me. And yes, I am no detective, but I do watch a lot of ID channel. And again, everything I'm going to say is all alleged. But let's put the pieces of the puzzle together. So you stabbed your boyfriend, on, let's say Thursday, right? Are you going to go to a bar the next day to get a drink when you told the police that you were mentally unstable and suicidal, doesn't add up to me. There are different things surfacing about both parties. Of course, Black Twitter is going to go ham and biscuits about this situation because he also said he would never date a Black woman.
Oh, wow.
And so, it looks a little suspicious because, if you know Courtney Taylor, she's a Caucasian female, but she took his life. They're saying that it was a domestic dispute, and the way that the story is playing out allegedly is that she had right to do what she did to him. But it doesn't add up to me, and I'm just gonna say that. And we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see what shakes out of the whole, blankets here when everything's all said and done. But that's just my opinion. It doesn't really quite add up because there's no way me personally, I could take a life and then the next day go to a bar or just be out in the public just moving about. And I know certain situations domestic dispute wise, and again, if there is domestic dispute, I do not condone it in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But most women, or in most situations, unfortunately a lot of times it goes left or right? And so she's alleging that she was defending herself. So that's why she stabbed him 11 times. But shooting someone, yes, totally could see that. But stabbing a man that's twice your size, I'm not sure about that. But let's just see how everything plays out. But let's look into that. Y'all go ahead and dissect that story, but I'm not here for it, Anyway. That's all I got for you guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.
Great. Wow. That's deep.
Yeah.
I did hear a little bit about that story too.
I heard about it.
Hold on. I want to just acknowledge the people on here on the sides here. Hey, Angelique.
Hey, Angelique.
Hey, Crystal. Good evening. And good evening, Ursula. All right. Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. When I heard it, I was like, you mean to tell me you had to stab him 11 times in order for the get him off of you? I mean, usually if it's self-defense, you're going to do it at least one time so you can have time to run,
right.
But if I'm like 11 times, that's crazy.
It depends on what it was about, though. I could see someone actually doing that when you're in anger. When you're angry, I could see someone doing something like that. Yeah.
Right, but in that scenario, that makes you the aggressor.
Right.
If you angry, because I can't really see that happening no other way. 11 times you stabbed him.
Yeah, that's why I said that I could see it happening, but not because of he's beating the crap out of her or nothing like that. I can't see that. I could see her doing it if she's angry because maybe she found out something about him cheating or something like that, and she's really upset about it or something like that. Now I could see that, but
how long were they dating?
I don't know. I have no idea. I seen that. I did
heard too many of these cases. Yeah, over the last year or so, with interracial issues.
Wow,
and the Black person ended up dead, and this has been happening more than once, especially with the Black men.
Yeah,
I heard Black women.
I heard about something like that, similar to that too. A friend of mine actually, her son, that happened to her son. The young lady set him up, and she was Caucasian, of course. And she set him up. Somebody else came to the door. What she did was the person came to the door, and she answered the door, and he answered the door, and they shot him. They just lit him up. So it was, and they've come to find out she had something to do with it. She was behind the whole thing. She had set everything up. So yeah.
And I mean, I haven't seen that. I haven't heard about situations that happened over the last year at least. I saw one on the Yahoo News, and where this young man who was his neighbor. They were neighbors, and they had been friends, and having barbecues and everything. And this man claimed he thought his thought he was breaking into his shed. And like, now how you gonna think he was breaking into your shed? Then he shot him. I think he shot him, and he left him there. Didn't go get help.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's son did the same thing, something like that to his neighbor.
Wow, that sounds like some a Tyler Perry movie, because you know, one of Tyler Perry's shows that actually happened in one of his shows.
No, listen, trust me. If you look that up, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's son, it's a wild story.
Wow.
How
Okay.
he tried to kill his neighbor, and something about extra garbage bag, like something super, like you just would never think that it would go there. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody would be trying to kill somebody for something so trivial, especially not in those spaces. Like you're not thinking.
You got that right.
Abdul-Jabbar's son, you know, is going to be out behaving like a maniac.
Yeah.
Well, you know, sometimes celebrity children have a tendency to think that they're exempt, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did y'all hear about I see Ursula put that there was a subway shooting in New York. Did y'all hear about that?
Yeah. I just saw it right before I came on Nora O'Donnell on TBS was talking about it. And she said and they haven't found him yet. He left 29 injured. What he did is he came on the train he was on the very end train, and he released a smoke bomb, smoke bomb, and after he released it, then he started shooting.
Wow.
And
this was in Brooklyn, right?
Yep, Brooklyn, New York subway. And they said people started running, and several people got shot. Some critical, some just like maybe I shot in the leg or whatever. And it was just panic. This was this morning at that. So you know it was like the height of rush hour.
Yeah.
You know, so and they said that he had to have they believe that he had to have planned this. This wasn't just they don't believe it was just a random shooting, that he had to have planned it the way he did, because he had on a smoke mask.
Right. That's what I was about to say. Clearly, if he letting smoke
and what they call it, one of them work vests, one of them vests. You know, like one of them, you know, when people trying to make sure you can see them. One of those kind of vests.
The neon color vest.
He had on a green one, and he had on the smoke mask. Wow. And he said he was about 5'5". So they looking for a black male, and I was surprised when they said a black male. I was like, oh my gosh. And he had on a black hoodie. And so
somebody must have really ticked him off.
These types of things always seem to happen in April. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something with the timing,
resurrection,
where you know these sort of mass shootings, because clearly, I mean, if he came out there with gas, he already had a whole program.
He sure did, because they said they found several other things that had not been detonated. They found a magazine of ammunition. They found a semi-automatic weapon, and apparently the gun had jammed, I guess. So and then it was I think it was a U-Haul van that he had rented, and the van was from Arizona.
Somebody asked.
So that mean he had backup ammunition. He had multiple escapes planned in case this don't work. I'll do this. If this don't work, I'll do that. That's why he had like explosives and smoke bombs. That's to help you get away.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is not.
There wasn't no amateur. He knew what he was doing.
No, that's what it said. Right. He knew what he was doing.
Crazy person, because a random crazy person don't really care about what happens after.
No. Because they usually take their own life afterwards.
Right. Yeah. This guy had smoke bombs, and explosives, and he was trying to get away. So
yeah, he had motives to it. Someone named George asked, was there a name or anything?
No, they don't know yet.
No.
They said that the New York mayor said they don't know yet, and they're not saying until they get all the information. because they didn't want to put the wrong image of somebody out there. So they want to, because when they say black folks, they look at all of us,
we all
so
look alike to them.
Yeah, everybody look alike. So you got to really be careful.
Don't be dressing like that, people. Make sure
you
you're
got
not
a black
all dressed
hoodie on,
like
you better take it off.
Take it off, because they start accusing us. Yeah. But I was gonna mention about I was gonna also mention this too about Tosh and Billy Ray Cyrus calling it quits after 30 years. I don't know if everybody know who that is. That's Hannah Montana's Miley Cyrus parents. They're getting a divorce after 30 years allegedly. That's what they're saying.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've heard about so many people that have been married over 20 and 30 years and is getting divorced. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. They said, I mean, it happens.
Yeah, it does. And I think sometimes people, I hear people say, "Oh no, fall out of love." No, you just fall out of relationship.
And then,
well, sometimes people, it's hard to grow together.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's only hard if you married the person with the wrong mindset. Because I mean, I see old people who've been married for years and they still hugging up on each other and they still loving on each other, and yet, but a lot of us now, it's like people.
It was really equally yoked, but most people,
right? Exactly.
They're not getting together for
that reason.
Yeah, it's not really a lot of mental, especially with social media. People is, you don't really know people.
Yeah, they getting together all for the wrong reasons a lot of times.
So
as you're going through the years, you learn things, you get introduced to things, and you grow and you change.
And not only that, you change. Actually, women and men change mentally, emotionally, physically, and that's why I always say, and I'll tell anybody that's getting ready to get married or thinking about it, I was like, you better make sure you're ready for being there for better or for worse. That's why the word, it says for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, to death do you part. I said, because it's gonna get better. It's gonna have better days. You're gonna have some worse days. You're gonna have some sickness. You're gonna have some good days and bad. You have to decide if that's what you want. Can you see yourself with that person beyond the cute little shape, the good looking, good looking this and good looking that? Can you see that person can you see yourself with that person beyond all the with their teeth and without their teeth? I'm gonna be honest with you. That's because that's what happens over the years. They start losing several different things. They lose their teeth. They start losing. They don't look. Everybody don't look as cute as they used to. But I think older people, the older they get, especially if they take care of themselves, some of them look very, very, it's very cute. So, so it's just a matter of the people. I think if you really getting in marriage for the right reason, you can last. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you that it's not easy, that it's easy, because it is not. Because like I said, the older you get, the more you get set in your ways. And sometimes you have opinions that they may not like because they ain't used to you giving your opinion.
Yeah.
It can be hard to grow together because we change.
Exactly. We do.
Yeah, that's true.
Because women especially, we go through some changes.
Yeah. And on another note, I wanted to mention this. This is funny to me. It's kind of funny. Well, Simon Cowell says he's no longer going to get any facial fillings after they made him look like something out of a horror film. Well, you first of all, God created you to look a certain way. When you start altering yourself, what do you expect?
Exactly. And I've seen some look a hot mess after they had surgeries done. Just like when that Botox first came out, people was getting their Botox in their eyes and end up with one eyebrow way up here and the other eyebrow. I was like, no, man.
Yeah, because what happens with that is when you first start doing it early on, your face structure is still really strong. Your elastin, your collagen is still really strong. As you keep going on, getting those shots more and more, the elastin and the collagen weakens, And now that stuff is kind of just finding its own. So your face shape starts to change a little bit.
That's true.
You can notice it on all of the folks that get a lot of, facial work done, that their face shape starts to change.
Yeah, because I've seen some, and I'm like, what happened? Especially the ones that you've seen back in the day before they got the good money, and they didn't have all these changes, and I'm like, man, they look cute. Then you look at them, and I'm like, well, what happened? They went and had cheek implants and all this other stuff. I'm like, you know what? People will pay for the looks that we have as African Americans, and you go.
But a lot of times they are. A lot of times they're steered into those things because what'll happen is they'll get proposition like, hey, I don't know, we got $5 million role for this movie right here, but I know you probably wouldn't be interested in this because you got a whole cheek job and this, that, and the other. This wouldn't make sense for you because this wouldn't, you might be think about your finances. Like you said, how much? 5 million? Wait a minute. Hold on now. Let me take a look at that script right there. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead and make I said they got these masks now that they said that and I saw this on a Facebook post that you can actually they had white people actually putting on black face masks with these not just the mask, but these like skins, like it actually look like they are actually black, but they're not until they pull it off. When you pull it, you know how they do it in the movies, and had this because they showed one with this white girl. She was a model. She did it
like Scary Movie or something like that.
She looked this was like modeling type. She looked like a black female, and then when they moved to pull it off for her, I said, wow.
Right. So what they're trying to give them a black experience?
I guess.
Probably so.
She probably take it off of if she started experiencing the real black experience.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That ain't just about wearing it. It's about where you wearing it.
Yeah. Exactly. I remember I told a coworker, man, that one time. She was like, guess what, Margaret? She said, look, I'm almost as dark as you. And she was like, look, my tan. And I was like, oh, really? I said, guess what? Mine don't wash off. I said, and guess what? Mine don't change in the summer. In the wintertime, it stays this color all year round. She started laughing. She goes, Margaret, you're a mess. I said, well, it's the truth. I said, don't change. I said, yours go away after the summer.
We was having a conversation like, oh yeah, well, my guy's been in the laboratory working with melanin for 4 years now. I'm like, yeah, but I've been wearing it for 44 years.
Yeah, that's all right.
Your little 4 years in the lab messing around, that ain't the same as living in it.
Yeah, exactly.
With it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last one we had you on Thursday. We had you on last Thursday, and there were still questions that were wanting to be asked. And unfortunately, Mr. Energy couldn't make it onto the show tonight, but I think he told you his question before he got Thursday, and I can't remember what he said. He told me, but I forgot what he said.
Yeah, what was his question?
He was asking you about some doctor, somebody. How did he influence you? But I can't remember the doctor's name. Dr. Fowley or Dr.
Sabi?
Yeah, I think that was the name. He said, how did he influence you?
So, and I hope this is his question, but I'll come back. So we could do a series or whatever. But
okay.
I kind of got into the healing arts through a whole different pathway. Like I didn't go the traditional route where, a lot of times you grow up under somebody who's a healer or herbalist, and they kind of teach you like that. My thing was always science. And, I played around with the plants a little bit, but my curiosity was always like physical science, like science, but what me at the center of it. The disconnect in school, I think some grades science was good, but for the most part it'd be like bore you to death, children. And I think it's because they can't see themselves in it. Anyway, later on, after I had already had the experience with my daughter, had my experience with my heart stopped. And
Oh wow, really?
yeah, I don't know. I forgot exactly what we went into last week, but
We didn't hear about
We was
that
talking
one.
about your right. We was talking about your daughter, but I didn't know that.
yeah, well, that was kind of a smaller thing, and a lot of people didn't know about it. So, although it had it greatly, clearly affected my life in a way, but it wasn't something that really like put me out there to the people. Whereas the situation with my daughter, so many people knew about it. It was no way for me to kind of keep that quiet. You know what I mean? But so from there going out, that's when I start like looking to get, educated and try to find out a little bit more and take it a little bit more serious, because people was like pressing me for questions and help and like, yo, you talented with this. This is, you got to do something with this. And so in that journey is where I start to learn about Dr. Africa and Dr. Sebi and some of the other great legendary healers. Even some of the white, alternative healers. And then I want to say maybe, I don't know, maybe a handful of years after really getting into studying Sebi, I realized that I had a resource. One of Dr. Sebi's wives. I used to hang out with her son a lot. And so just at the crib, like he never really introduced her in a way like, this is Sebi's right hand man right here. like, like it was just kind of like, that's my mom. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Until I find out on my own, like, wait a minute. You mean that's the lady that's his co-defendant? Like that's his co-defendant right there? That's Dr. Sebi. So, from there, I just used to start, like asking her a bunch of questions and really got a lot.
He actually learned from her.
Yeah, I learned a lot from her to, I would say, take my studies to another level. I was already pretty popular in terms of traveling city to city, state to state, doing lectures and teaching classes and writing books, but you can always learn more. You know what I'm saying? You can always learn more. And her style was so contrary to the way I learned things. It just filled in a lot of gaps for me really quickly. You know what I'm saying? Because my thing was always science, hardcore, like, the mitochondria, this and that. Like, so but she's a mom with it. And she learned it hands-on experience. So the way she discusses things, it just was easy for me to just soak it up real quick. And then I guess most people know me for defending Dr. Sebi.
Oh, okay.
I think that's where, because it'd be so many people that they attack him, but and honestly, initially, early on, I wasn't defending him to defend him. I was defending him because, when you attack somebody, it depends on what you're attacking, but you can be attacking a whole bunch of people without you knowing. So if you're attacking the vegan lifestyle and you're attacking the herbalist lifestyle and, basically you attacking me, you don't got to put my name in the blank. But if you're attacking my lifestyle, how I live, how I raise my children, like, I'm the type of person that'll respond. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh, okay.
that's I guess that's a different thing also for the holistic universe. So a lot of people, you know, that's another thing I guess that's controversial about me is that the holistic space, they're not really, I'm not going to say they're anti-testosterone, but they're kind of, you know, they're used to a certain type of male, which is a lot more non, you know, aggressive and not really that head on. And so, but you know, I'm like a little different. So, you know, I kind of respond to things sometimes a little aggressive. So that's where a lot of people know me from, defending some attacks.
Okay.
What is about the type 2 diabetes that you can elaborate on the best form of attacking it when you're dealing with it? Because you get all the pharmaceutical stuff out here, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, if they can give all these little of the pharmaceutical companies can come up with all these different things to help lower the blood sugar, how come they can't give something a natural way of doing it without having to put all that medication in your body? And then in some cases and then some people end up still with amputations. So I wonder, how can you do, is there something natural? And I know it has to be because they're using some of the same stuff from the earth themselves, but they putting all kind of other stuff in it. What is it that you know of that you can elaborate on that can help those who may have type 2 and wanting to find something that's natural, a natural remedy that they can do along with eating healthy and things like that?
Right. So the article, that's the main thing I would say that they need is to read and study the article. Right. That's the let me make sure I give it to you guys again. I know I sent it to you guys last week.
Is it that picture?
No.
Oh,
Drop it right here in the private chat room.
oh, okay.
If you look on the right hand side, you see where it says private chat.
Oh, okay.
Click on the private chat and it'll be over there.
Okay.
That way you can put it in the description.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Yeah, and then all the people can click on it. But the information is the most important thing because it's not a you know, we've had a bunch of people over the years, and it really took me to do a full, almost decade-long study to really break this thing down and come to some of these conclusions. And over that 10-year period, I want to say I was able to examine closely I would say all manner of people from Oriental, white, black folks, sick, athletes, like all walks of life. And we've had so many geniuses and intelligent minds come and try to give us a cookie cutter, but the cookie cutter doesn't work. Meaning there's no specific mold, there's no diet where you go, okay, here's the diet. Eat these items, don't eat these items. You're going to be, or take this herb and it's going to get rid of the insulin forever. You're going to be good. It doesn't. What we need is information. We have to understand how our body works.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we get the understanding to go, okay, now that I understand how my body works, I understand why I'm eating. I know why I need carbohydrates. I know why I need fats. I know why I need proteins. Now I can eat a certain way coupled to my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the biggest change that has to be made. But that can't happen until people invest a little bit of time in studying how their body works, how food breaks down. Because it's not about okay, well, I'm gonna be a vegan. You know, there's a lot of vegans that eat terribly as vegans.
Yeah.
and they wind up just as bad as if they hadn't, like, so even in that space, it's not like, okay, we'll go plant-based and then, everything is going to be good from there, because plant-based is such a wide spectrum of dietary changes. Like, there's people that eat plant-based, they eat vegan, but they don't eat any plants. They avoid meat. They're avoiding meat, but they're not eating plants. They eating vegan cheese, vegan chicken, vegan steak, vegan ribs with mac and cheese, lasagna, mashed potatoes, white rice. Like,
so what was the purpose of it?
Right. Still getting the high amount of sugars.
Yeah, I was just going to
still
say.
Getting the fats.
That's like going to Burger King saying, "Give me a double cheeseburger and give me a Diet Coke."
That's pretty much what it is that people been, that's what people do. And they don't get it. They think that there's a way that you can eat certain items and, like, I'm eating clean. So you even have them people where they eating like broccoli with chicken breasts and like, nah, that's not how it goes, because even like activity has to come before even we talk about food. Activity. Like, what are you going to do today? Let's start there. Because depending on what you do, how active you are determines how your food even breaks down.
Oh, wow. Really?
Most people think like, okay, well, if I eat protein, then I'm on a protein. No. When you eat protein, most of that protein turns into sugar.
Oh,
so
wow.
People don't get, they think that diabetes has to do with eating sugar. It doesn't have to do with eating sugar. It's about blood sugar. And so you can have a diet with no sugar, no carbohydrates, all protein, and your blood sugar still be going up through the roof.
Because you're not working out or whatever.
Well, because you don't have a high utilization for protein.
So you had to be a balance.
Well, your body doesn't need a lot of protein.
So, somebody just recently told me that she said that she started this workout routine, and she said that she was telling me, she said that her protein intake was too much. And so they told her that, she said that, so she had to cut back on her protein intake because of that. And so now I know why she said that now.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
A lot of people that's got in their mind, okay, well, I got to get this protein and I got to get this Why? Who told you got to get this?
What are the things that are high in protein?
Yeah, like, and why do you have the drive to, or people doing keto? Like, yeah, I'm going to eat all fat and that's how I'm going to lose weight. I'm like, do you hear yourself? Like, you're going to eat all fat? No, just good fats. There's no such thing as like, it doesn't work that way. There are good fats, but there's only good fats within a specific range.
Okay.
As soon as you go past a certain range, the good fats, it turns into like it's fat. Like it's still fat. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to understand, like, it's like everything got limits and boundaries. And
bacon is still bacon.
Yeah. So everything in your body converts into sugar. Whether it's protein, fat, or of course sugar converts into sugar. But
so because I know they used to say weight was a big part of it too. But I said, well, but I don't understand how is it so much, because I've seen people who are thin, and some even thinner than me, and they are diabetics. And I'm like, well, how is that if that's one of the issues? And they tell you about the weight and all this stuff, and it's like, then you see people who are huge and they're not diabetic.
Right. So here's the thing. There's a couple of variables, and it's the same as like the untrained ear when people hear diabetes and relate it to sugar. So they think it's about eating sugar as opposed to blood sugar.
Right.
Same thing in this space where it's like, okay, let me try to think how I want to explain this. What we eat, it doesn't always translate exactly the way people would think, right? So there are foods that start off alkaline in your hand if you test it, but when you digest it, it builds up into acids in the body. There's foods that are the exact opposite. They acidic in nature, like a lot of citrus foods, but they alkalize into the body. So it's the same thing with everything else that we put in our body. You know, your body's like a laboratory. Things convert into other things.
Oh wow.
And
That's true.
so that's what we got to keep in mind. Like things convert into other things inside our body. So
I mean, I've even heard people say, "Well, you can't eat too many fruits either because fruits got its own natural sugar." So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
so
it's again, it's a matter of what is it that you do every day? How are you living? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first phase. How are you living? What are you doing every day? So if you don't really break down much muscle or you building up muscle, your body doesn't really need much protein. So
Mm-hmm.
most of the protein that you eat is going to turn into ammonia and sulfuric acid.
Oh wow.
That's going to clog your kidneys up.
mm,
So that's where the meat eating really attacks the kidneys because you breaking this most of the protein that you're eating is just turning into acid and sugar. It's not really being used to build up your body because you don't even have a building up process going on. Like people don't exercise.
Wow.
So if you're not exercising, you don't have a protein even requirement. Basically, you just like your when we wake up in the morning. Well, we don't know. This happens on the inside, but every morning your body digests your whole digestive lining, and you get a brand new one.
Mm-hmm.
So in that digestion process, your body recycles like 100, like between 70 and 100 grams of protein. So technically you got protein, you know what I'm saying? You got protein. Like if you're not exercising or you don't have a job that's rigorous, you don't have a high protein requirement. Like you don't need. So, when you have protein at breakfast, and this is whether it's vegan protein or animal, it doesn't matter. When you're having protein and you don't do anything, the protein is going to turn into ammonia, sulfuric acid, and sugar.
Wow.
mm,
You know what I'm
That
saying?
that's good information because you know what, I noticed something that since I started back on my workout routine and stuff, and I've been like on it for a few months now, and I noticed that at first, before I started working out, I noticed that every time I would eat something, it always felt like it was just sitting here in my chest. So and I just always would feel nauseous every time I eat something, no matter what time of the day it is. I just felt nauseous. I felt sick. So when I started back working out and stuff, I noticed that I don't have that now. So now I understand why. It's because I'm burning whatever I'm eating before it even turn into anything that's gonna hurt me.
Yeah, and
So
your body metabolizes the food differently when you exercise. So, um, but so yeah, it's really about coupling how you live to what it because you're fueling your body and you're trying to repair your body. But once you go past fueling, now you're storing fat. Once you go past repairing, you storing fat because your body doesn't have a mechanism to store protein.
Mhm.
mm.
So any protein that you don't need at the time that you eat it,
Mhm.
your body turns it into sugar.
Oh wow.
Mm.
So a lot of people just think that randomly, like these things just going into different places in your body. Like, so if you just waking up and you having sausage and whatever, eggs and all that sausage, eggs, all that you had in the morning, that's turning into sugar. That's going to get turned into ammonia, sulfuric acid, and sugar.
Yeah. So
Then
I
you sit around, drive the car to work, sit down at work at your desk. You have
Mhm.
lunch, a turkey, a cheese, a pizza, whatever. All of that stuff turns. So a lot of times we don't realize we having a large sugar with a small sugar, and then we put sugar on top of the sugar. So we'll have, for instance, chicken wings with French fries, and then we'll put some ketchup on the French fries or the chicken or both. We don't realize we just put sugar on top of sugar on the side of sugar, because the chicken is going to turn into sugar, the fries going to turn into sugar, and of course the ketchup is going to turn into sugar. So we didn't have nothing but a whole plate full of sugar. And if I ask somebody after that, did they eat any sugar? They're going to say, nah, I ain't eat no sugar today, because they didn't have no cookies. They didn't have no chocolate. They didn't have no cake. They didn't have no ice cream. They didn't have no soda. So in their mind, they didn't have no sugar. That chicken was sugar, then fries was sugar, that cheese was sugar, that you know, like all of those items are sugar. You just didn't know it.
Wow, you're right, because I sure didn't know that. And I like my chicken.
See, so that's why like it's awesome to kind of like dig into something. Like when I put the article out, we had shout out to Knowledge, do the Knowledge Radio, but we had covered so much ground, and see, now it's becoming a movement. We got the hats, the clothes, the bags, everything. So I definitely appreciate everybody's support. But now that it's, you know, a lot of people are starting to read the article and study the article, and it's really like time to dial in and hit some of these little specifics, because people still don't know. You know, I've been out in the street talking to people, and you just would not believe how many people don't know what melanin is. So like I'm out teaching about the melanin and diabetes. Come to find out, I'm taking for granted that people know what melanin is.
No, they don't.
Now, I was getting ready to ask you this question because someone told me that about vitamin D. They were saying that vitamin D is the doctor told them that you should be taking vitamin D every day. Is that true? What you said that is true.
Definitely. Yeah, you definitely got to get your vitamin D in. On my website, we have vegan vitamin D.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sourced from lichen. So you get vegan vitamin D3.
What's a good dose of vitamin D? Like how many milligrams?
They do IUs. So
you said IUs?
Yeah, that's how they do. IU.
Yeah, it's an IU on the bottles.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I just didn't know what it meant.
So the old school was like 400 IUs a day. So that's really based on like some out-of-date science that, again, didn't involve us. So that's not what we need. We need way more than that.
Oh, really?
So, as African American?
I would say, yeah. I would say 5,000 IUs is like the minimum.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, me and my children.
I know my doctor told me I need to take
a minimum
vitamin
of
D.
5,000 IUs a day. We try to think about it like this. As a Black person, you're supposed to be out in the sun 6 to 8 hours a day.
Right.
Well, within an hour, your body can make anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 IUs of vitamin D. So,
if you're in the sunlight?
Yeah. So if you outside, that's what I'm saying. So if you outside, your body will make 100,000 IUs of vitamin D.
That's funny because maybe that's the reason why you feel like you have more energy when you're in the sun. Is that why?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm gonna have to start standing out in the sun, hot flashes and all.
But here's my thing: why would they suggest only 400 IUs when you make 400 IUs in the sun in like 5 minutes? Like that don't even make sense. And the place where they got those numbers from was from studying rickets. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, studying rickets.
Okay, so Ursula said it depends on the person. You can OD on vitamin D.
No, you can't OD on vitamin D. Relax. Let Jesus take the wheel. Sit in the passenger seat. No. Here's the thing, though. She's making a good point, though. Seriously, because there is a difference between synthetic over-the-counter stuff and natural. So like vitamin A. Vitamin A is very important. Right now we have an epidemic of blindness, people losing their eyesight. Vitamin A is super important. But
really?
they find out that but the synthetic vitamin A causes cancer.
Oh wow.
So how do you get the vitamin A?
You got to get it from your food. So that brings me back around to the point I was making earlier. What we do is we don't really call it vegan. We call it a pigment-based diet. You know, so it's still all plant-based, but we make sure we focus on actually getting plants in. So every day you want to have a wide variety of colors. You want to have some yellows, some reds, some greens, some purple in your diet daily, period. You know what I'm saying? And if you're getting in your yellows and reds, that's where you'll get your retinoic acids or your vitamin A.
So that what why they say about the apple a day keep the doctor away?
Something to that effect. But
I don't like red apples. I like green apples.
But you got to get like apples. That's case you had to get some all of them. But no. But with the vitamin D, what you got to do is this. If you're taking the synthetic vitamin D, for whatever reason, and I'll probably get a little bit deeper into it on the next video I got coming. I got an interview coming. But with synthetic vitamin D, if you're going to be taking high doses, and high doses doesn't start until you get like 100,000 IUs. When you get up to 100,000 IUs, what happens is the body becomes vitamin K2 deficient. And when you start running out of K2, your body will start pulling in a lot of calcium into the vessels, and it'll cause your soft tissues to start to calcify. So, but that only happens with high dosage of synthetic vitamin D. Like you would never see that happen from somebody in the sun too long.
So, she said, Ursula said you can get poison from too much vitamin D. Different people have different issues. It's not a blanket amount.
Yeah, listen. We're going to put Ursula in timeout. We're going to let Ursula relax for a little while.
She said exactly.
Just got to let Ursula relax. Calm down, Ursula. You stay out the sun. You use your suntan lotion, Ursula. You take it easy. But for the rest of us, there's a difference, like I was saying, between the natural form and the synthetic form. So, if you go out in the sun, like I said, you can do 100,000, 200,000 IUs of vitamin D just being outside in the sun. If you go out to the beach, you're making 200,000-300,000 IUs of vitamin D. Like you don't see vitamin D toxicity in nature.
But you should have your sunscreen on though when you go out there in that sun.
I'm not a promoter of that. I don't suggest people, black folks anyway, ever wear suntan. What I say is take your time and build up so that you can go out there and tolerate the sun. Because no matter how
I know I'm low on my vitamin D, so I'm gonna have to start getting more sun.
Well, not necessarily even vitamin D, but just to be able to tolerate the sun.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
that's gonna be hot.
Yeah, you got to take it and you got to get your skin organ back up to par.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And take it and
what happened to you? I was standing in the sun.
Yeah, she said I had a vitamin D issue, very serious, not from the sun.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So the synthetic forms, you know,
really it's not.
Probably
damaged.
But no, if you're taking any sort of vitamin D, like with us, if you're following the dietary plan, you know, greens are so much a part of what it is that we do. You know, there's a lot of natural vitamin K in the diet.
And I could believe that about the sun because my daughter is in the DR and her skin is so beautiful since she's been out there.
Is she out there soaking that
So
sun?
in that sun, yeah.
Yeah. So there's, but here's the thing: in the sun, our body gets more than just vitamin D. Even vitamin D is more than vitamin D. Vitamin D is like a group of like 6 or 7 different steroids that's released into your body from cholesterol in the sunlight. So it's a whole, it's a bunch of things. And then there's other neurochemistry that happens as a result of sunlight exposure. So the different parts of the sun affects
I
different.
definitely have to do that.
So we got the near infrared affecting melatonin. You got the visible affecting, vitamin D, and then you got UVB, the progenitor of the vitamin D cascade, and then serotonin and some of the other. So there's a lot of chemistry that's initiated via the sunlight. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, y'all know our time is up. But before we go, I want to say to you guys that if you guys want to know more about Dr. Enqi, I did put his website up there on the screen so that you guys can follow him and ask him any questions that you might want to ask him.
If you could share that link with them, that'd be good.
Yeah, I already shared it. It's up there at the top. So it'll show up, and when I go into there to make some corrections, I'll make sure that I put it where people can see it and they can follow you, because that's some very good information that you gave today. And I'm gonna stay on my little workout because I feel a lot better since I haven't had that little congestion and feeling like everything gonna come back up, and since I started back working out. So yeah, but if you guys have any questions for Dr. Enqi, you guys can follow him. The link is in the comments, and I'm gonna make sure I put it in the comments on YouTube so you can find that information as well. And we want to thank you, Dr. Enqi, for coming on our show again. And we truly appreciate you and great information. We truly
Hey, listen, we're just scratching the tip of the tongue. We gotta schedule this regularly because
we could do it on Tuesdays it's up to you. If you more than welcome to come back on another Tuesday.
So that way we can really get deep with the people.
Because so people can get more healthy and be more informed of what they need to take.
Yeah. All right, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in to Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons and friends. We want to thank our guest, Dr. Enqi, for coming on today. Actually, we're going to make Dr. Enqi a regular on our show on Tuesdays. So be looking out for him. So that if you have any questions, please write your questions out and be prepared to ask them a question on Tuesday. All right, guys. All right. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Love you guys. Have a good night. And remember, God loves you, and so do I.
God bless.